Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Black Blaze Gaming. I'm Dakota, and I'm here to do another raid on the DOJ. Offline again, second day in a row, because internet is still being really shit. I don't know what's going on with Rogers, but they are bad at life. So I think the big thing is that these weird like issues with our internet always seem to happen on like long weekends. Whenever there's a holiday or something like that, there's always just the whole weekend, or at least a couple days of the weekend, there's just complete like destruction of the internet here. Now, I don't know if it's that they are intentionally throttling our bandwidth in certain places because of the long weekend, or if there is genuinely a greater amount of congestion. I can't imagine it's the latter, simply because I live in this neighborhood. I live in this town, and the town's not very big. It's not a great place for people to go and like visit, I guess, if they're visiting each other for the holidays on for Victoria Day, which is what the long weekend is for this week. And I can look around the neighborhood and the town and find that, wow, there's not a lot of people parked on the street. There's not more cars than there normally are. So I don't think it's congestion, personally. I think it's throttling. But it's not really the cleanest explanation, because even by going by the idea of it being throttling, because the upload side of it is really weird. Like, I can understand downloads being really congested and having some serious latency issues potentially. Like, I mean, you're queuing up all your packets, right? So it's just like, yeah, I get that part of it, but uploads being completely overwhelmed to the point of like it's dropped. Like, so my upload speed is usually around 100 megabits per second on this particular connection. But the past 2 days, so today and yesterday, I should say, it's been like, not only has it been like stuck, like having a hard time getting over a 1 megabit per second, which is a sixth of the actual bit rate that I use for my streams. But it's also like the latency is really weird. It's like all over the place. Sometimes it won't connect at all. Like I won't even get a latency like ping time. It just will never fucking ping. And other times the ping, like when I do get an actual latency reading, it's all the way up to like 2,000, 3,000 milliseconds, which is insane. That is a ridiculous ping latency. So yeah, I say ping latency is so redundant, but it's a ridiculous latency. It shouldn't be that high. And because it's so inconsistent, it's hard to call it throttling per se. Because that's the thing, is like, if it's throttled, it should be a more consistent number, a more consistent like throttle amount, which is why it feels like it could be congestion. But again, it seems weird that it would be congestion if it's so so consistent throughout the days. Because that's one thing that's really like also really odd about these sort of downtimes with the internet, is that they, while the speeds are really inconsistent, like there's a pretty clear cap on them, but there's also like just these constant drops and stuff. It's also that they last for a specific period. So it's always a 24-hour, 48-hour, or rarely a 72-hour period. It doesn't like, it doesn't have parts of the day where it's like better than others. It's just bad all the time, but the level of bad that it is like inconsistent. To agree, it's really hard to like put into words, but it's like it's consistently capped at a certain amount, and then also constantly dipping below that amount at varying amounts, with no real like consistency about its like timing. Because like with congestion, it's usually during like a rush hour period, which is, you know, prime time is like, you know, 6 p.m. ish, roughly. Like, you know, people getting off work and stuff like that. I can usually clock, you know, rush hour periods based on when my stepdad gets off work, for example. But and he wasn't off work yesterday, for example, because like the long weekend hadn't started yet. It was Friday. That's the holidays on Tuesday. And usually with the people that live out here, at least in my neighborhood and in the town that I live in, and the neighboring town, whenever there's a long weekend, everybody loads up their campers and leaves. So why would it be congestion if everybody's fucking leaving for the weekend, right? Like, so like not everybody, but a lot of people, like we would, any like, I guess visitors that we might even have to our town would just at any, like would I would say would seldom outweigh the amount of people leaving. I think generally speaking, we have a reduction in population during long weekends rather than an increase. So the congestion doesn't make sense. Shouldn't be happening during a work day. Again, it seems very weird. But it could be my PC. But again, the fact that it's my PC is always doing this on weekends, specifically, pretty much with like one exception since I started streaming. I don't get it. I don't get it. I thought that I had it solved earlier too, because I was going through my internet settings and stuff, and I was just trying to see if there was anything that had changed, because I just updated drivers recently, and my BIOS and everything. And I did find that behind my back, as it sometimes tries to do, my stupid motherboard update software installed a bunch of software behind my back, including CFOS Speed, which is, if you haven't heard of it, is one of the biggest pieces of shit software that has ever been produced by humankind. If you ever see something trying to install that on your PC, or see that it is installed on your PC, delete it immediately, uninstall that shit, find every component that you can of it and delete it, remove it, make sure that the adapter properties for your network adapter don't have it enabled or installed to it. Just get rid of it. It's terrible. It will absolutely kill your internet speed. Without fail. It is one of the, like I said, one of the worst pieces of software ever devised by humankind. So yeah, I would definitely chuck that in the bin. I don't know who's paying these companies like Gigabyte and MSI and stuff to like forcefully install CFOS Speed on everyone's machines, but it's terrible. These people are horrible, horrible people, and they need to be stopped. I keep looking over like I'm gonna see a chatter as if I'm live. I'm not. I've developed a fucking habit. I don't know. I do like interacting with chat. I will say that much. I do really like interacting with chat as much as I can. I do interact with chat less when we're doing Divinity, because I'm trying to like make sure that people can hear the dialogue and stuff like that, but understand the story if they haven't seen it before, and understand where like what our choices are, what choices we're making as players, because that's important part of those types of games. But yeah, so I'm also like still really exhausted. I've slept really poorly the past little while here, and I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I ain't doing so hot mentally. I've got some serious like stress and anxiety going on, and I'm like, whew, it woke me up. It woke me up last night. I had some really bad acid reflux. I got lucky. It's not to the point where I start vomiting yet, but if I don't deal with this shit soon, it'll get to that point. It's like quick like money. I hate saying that. I don't know why I said that. It sounds so white. It's like suburban fucking middle-aged dad, white dad. Oh, fuck. Okay, well, I thought I reloaded that. I guess I did not. Okay, reload it, please. Thank you. Damn it. Fuck off, punk-ass taser. Yeah, and I'm like, my internet is so bad and unreliable today that I'm like, I'm not even gonna bother like making Cass suffer through it too with like a bunch of disconnects and shit, because it's gonna happen. It's like we're just gonna have so much internet issues. So while I'm uploading yesterday's episode that I tried to upload yesterday 3 times and it never went through, I figured I would record today's episode and see if I can get it. See if the first episode. If yesterday's episode will be uploaded by the end of day today, and I can start the upload for this episode. Ugh. I don't know why I ran all the way back up these stairs. I guess I just got distracted talking to myself, like that one YouTube chatter was accusing me of doing when I was live with, you know, my girlfriend playing this. Are you talking to yourself right now? No. there's a reason there's a character model on the bottom of the screen there underneath me. But yeah, I mean, like, like that's also like, is it your first day on YouTube? Because like that's what people do when they're making YouTube videos, like pre-recorded YouTube videos, and that's what small streamers do when they're trying to, you know, get started in streaming. They don't always have chatters. They have to say something. Can't just be fucking non-verbal. Well, you could be non-verbal. I mean, there's definitely a space for that, but that's not what we're doing on this channel. We are a channel that interacts with its audience. Like, I don't know, it just seems like the most out of touch shit. Granted, I heard some shit today. I heard some shit today that I was like, that is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. So if you don't know me, I am a very pro-capitalist person. Sorry if that disappoints you. Sorry if you're, you know, super into the, like, you know, owning other people, but I'm not. And I'm not apologetic about it. I like, capitalism is great. It has its issues, but it's way better than fucking owning other people, which is what communism, socialism effectively are. And that's also why I hate like debt and stuff like that too. I think the like debt systems and stuff like that are also effectively owning people. Granted, they are choosing to do that. People who get into debt typically are exceptions, medical exceptions predominantly. But yeah, like I heard this take today that like workers who, like people who work for other people, by definition can't be capitalists because they don't own the means of production. What? They absolutely own the means of production. Their own means of production. You don't own their labor. That's the thing. You don't own their labor. You are paying them for their labor. And any labor they perform for you is labor that you have to pay for. And if you don't pay for it, men with guns come and take you away because you've stolen a person's labor. You've basically enslaved them. We have workers' rights. That's what that is. So working for someone else does not mean that you are giving up the means of production to someone else. You still own your means of production, and you can choose to take them to someone else who respects them better and pays more money for them. That's what capitalism is like. Yeah, you can also leave and become an entrepreneur yourself and own a different means of production, but it's still yours. And so it's like, because like, okay, by that logic of like, oh, they don't own the means of production because I guess they don't own the company. People don't understand what means of production actually means. But by that logic, that means that they're not communists or socialists either. They're not collectivists, because that would imply that they have a collective ownership of the means of production. But they don't. They don't own anybody else at the company. And they're not paying anybody else at the company. They're not doing it. They're like, they are a capitalist who is not an entrepreneur capitalist. They're just a worker. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And it doesn't make them a communist. That's the stupidest fucking thing. And then I also love seeing, you know, when people talk about, well, communist societies have completely eliminated homelessness. And I'm like, yeah, you should look at how they've done it, because that's an important part of the equation. Yeah, you either live in the rundown, poorly managed piece of shit building that we give you that will likely collapse on your head and kill you at some point, or we come with guns to put you in prison, or just execute you if we can't, you know, because our economy sucks, we can't afford to keep you in prison, so we'll just kill you. Like, that's what communism does. I don't know why people are trying to praise that. And like, they'll even compare, like, and this is one of my favorite statistics that people try to use to compare the United States to other countries, is like, they compare infant mortality rates. Those statistics aren't tracked the same way. And this is true for a lot of statistics. Statistics aren't tracked the same way between countries. They just aren't. In the US, they count more things as a life than other countries might do, right? So with infant mortality rates, the US will typically have a higher one than a lot of other countries, because they actually count a stillbirth as a life, even though it didn't make it through birth. They still count it as a life. Is that the best form of record keeping? I don't fucking know. Like, but what it effectively means is that infant mortality rates, like many statistics, can't really be effectively compared across countries. It's the same with any type of crime, for example. Crime statistics are really difficult because the way that each country defines crimes are different. We all have different laws. We don't have the same legal systems. It's just like the way we convict, the way we sentence, all that stuff is so different country to country that it can't be effectively compared without a ton of controls in place. And even then, it's not going to work properly because some things aren't going to be recorded as statistics that another country might record as statistics and thus can't be compared. It's just, it's really like, there's so much complexity to these things that like people just, they'll look at numbers on a chart and they also like, and it's crazy because there are certain numbers that can be relied upon for certain metrics. Like there's certain obviously real data that works. There's certain data that doesn't really have borders per se. But then people will try, that are equally stupid that you know, the same people who would, you know, who would try to claim that like US has higher infant mortality rates, that should try to compare those types of statistics across the board. The same type of fucking brain trusts will also like try to discredit actual valid statistics by saying stuff like, "Oh, per capita isn't a valid metric. That's just white supremacy invented that. It's not real." And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Per capita is the best way we have for controlling for population size. Like you can, because and it's good for certain things. It's not good for everything. It's not a universal, again, it's not a universal metric. But like when it comes to discussing things like the proportionality of a certain occurrence for different, you know, groups or whatever, that per capita is the best way to do it. I mean, per capita is just one type of way of like proportionality, you could say. Like, I mean, obviously it's per 100 people or per one, I think it's per 100 people, per 1,000, I don't know. But let me hit the Cash Patel counter here. I don't know if I did this yesterday.
There will be accountability.
I'll have to check. But yeah, like it's crazy because people will say per capita isn't valid, but then they'll say percentages are. What do you think per capita was designed for? It's designed for simplifying proportions into percentages, basically. That's how it works. That's what it is. Like, what the fuck? It's not like they're not read always as percentages, but that's effectively how they work. Because it's people who are stupid and don't understand statistics. They don't understand how percentages work, so they don't realize that a percentage doesn't mean that, like, so say like I don't know, 20% of men get testicular cancer. I don't think that's the actual statistic. Definitely, certainly isn't. But let's say that's what it is. There are people who think that means that inevitably 1 in 5 men ever throughout time forever will have testicular cancer. So you'll count, okay, this guy has testicular cancer, so the next person born after him won't, and then the next person won't, and the next person won't, and the next person won't, but then that next person, they will. They literally think it works that way, because they have no extrapolation capability, and they have no idea of how statistics can be changed by time, how these things are affected by environmental parameters, when the statistics were taken, and how they compare to the environmental conditions of the modern day versus the time they were taken. It's like there's so many variables, there's so many things you have to consider. Oh god. And it's like I was saying, in a previous stream, I think I was doing it live. We was doing it live. I was talking about how like people don't understand even the most basic thing about statistics, that if like say there's a drop rate in a game that is less than 100%, and there's no way to guarantee that drop, that means that there is a chance that a person could come along who never gets that drop. In fact, there's theoretically a chance that nobody who ever tries to get that specific drop will ever get it. I mean, obviously, the odds of that are completely unfathomably astronomical, like beyond the number of atoms in the observable universe. But that's still technically a possibility, and that's why I think that games should be better at respecting the time of their players by giving you ways to increase your chances and effectively guarantee a drop. And I mean, maybe there's people who get enjoyment out of never having a guarantee. That's fine. And maybe games can be made with that in mind, but they have to be upfront about that. They have to be clear that that's how it works. And that's sort of the thing that people have to understand about game developers, like programmers and stuff like that, is that they know more than you. They just do. They know more than you about games, about game design, and they know more about you than you about certain things behind the scenes. So somebody who's a programmer will usually be really good in math, unless they're a Vive coder, in which case they're not a programmer, they're an idiot. And they probably made CFOS speed. But, well, and to be fair, I can't tell if CFOS speed is a scam or just incompetence. It could be a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. So like a person who's in programming will know a lot of math. They'll understand math pretty well. They'll understand certain things, depending on their area of expertise in, game development and stuff like that, or mathematics and stuff like that. Will determine like what they specifically excel at and know a lot about. Although they may have, proclivities beyond that. But the thing is that they'll often know statistics really well, and they'll understand that they know it better than the player base will, and as such can manipulate those numbers to fuck with you. They don't, because if you don't even know enough to ask the right questions about the mathematics behind the scenes, you won't know when you're being fisted. Basically, that's what it comes down to. And that doesn't mean that programmers are specifically trying to screw you, but they have the capability to do so without you even ever realizing it per se. Now, granted, even if you don't understand how statistics work, a lot of people, and I would say the majority of people, they can kind of live off the vibe of it. Like, if a game isn't satisfying to play, it's just not satisfying to play. Now, granted, even if you are really sensitive to those things and can tell when something just isn't hitting that, isn't scratching that itch for you, At the same time, people are really good. A lot of developers are really good at making things scratch a certain itch or create an itch for it to scratch, which is a very strange sentence, but that's what it is. Like a lot of game design can prey really heavily on the easily addicted, people who lack impulse control, and often I would say a lot of major game developing companies do focus on trying to exploit those vulnerabilities in the people who have them. It's they'll ban you for life from a game for exploiting their shitty code, but the reason they're doing it is because they're exploiting your programming. It's which you didn't choose to have that programming. It's just incidental, and they are using it against you, but somehow you're evil for using it against them. Using their incompetence against them, not using their predisposition against them that they have no control over, but they're just straight up pieces. The fact that they're just garbage. Although maybe you could argue that someone being bad at programming is is like a sort of a disadvantage that they were born with naturally and will never overcome. But I don't know about that, because they've made themselves successful and can hire people who can fix some of their flaws. I don't know if anybody can fix the spaghetti code of Payday 2 without rewriting it from the ground up. Actually, so this is an interesting weird tangent here, but there's a game that I really liked from a long time ago. I got into it because I saw Markiplier play it once, called Magicite. It's a 2D roguelike action platformer. Pretty fun. I really do like it. I'm not good at it. I'm really bad, but I think it's fun. I think it's got a great vibe, great music. I love the art. There is a team of like a group of fans that are doing a complete rewrite of Magicite from the ground up. I think it's just called Magicite Rewritten right now. I don't know if they're going to change the name, but I think that's just what they're going with. Don't know how far along it is in the project. I'm in their Discord server though, and I just think that's really friggin' cool that they're doing that. Because like the guy who made it admitted, he's like, this was my first game. I think it was his first game, and he's like, yeah, I learned a lot since then. The code base is not good. I made a lot of mistakes that I've learned from since then and would not make again. Because he made another game, I believe. I don't remember if it's fully out or in early access or not out. I can't remember. It's been a second. I think it's playable. I don't know if it's, but I don't remember if it's early access or not. Either way, the fact that he was like mature enough to admit that he'd made mistakes with it and that it's not, it's got issues behind the scenes, I think is really ballsy. And I don't blame anybody, any developer, for not going back and rebuilding an old game from the ground up, because that's a lot of work. Like, it really is a lot of work. I mean, granted, he already has all the art assets done pretty much, but maybe he'd want to redo some of them, and I know I would probably get distracted redoing them. And one thing that you have to keep in mind too about stuff like that, like people remaking a game, is like, if you're rewriting it from the ground up, you're almost never going to recapture the exact feeling of the game, especially if there's physics simulations involved or stuff like that, because the settings are going to be different. There's going to be changes. There's going to be things that feel different, and for a lot of people, a lot of fans of the original, you might completely lose the initial soul that the game had. I mean, a lot of people were mad about the Blue Point remaster or remake of Demon Souls. A lot of people, they're like, oh, graphically it's pretty cool, I guess, but it feels different. The artistic style is way, way different, and I would definitely agree with that. I've never played the original Demon Souls, but I've definitely seen a lot of gameplay footage from it and stuff. It doesn't look remotely the same. And I definitely feel like it lost its soul along the way. I don't know about the gameplay. I heard the gameplay part of it. It was was largely fine. But it was mainly like the soul of the art that people were disappointed that it lost. But yeah, That is definitely a risk, especially if you have fans of your original game and you're remaking it. It's like, are you remaking it for them, or are you remaking it to reach a wider audience because it'll be like more polished or whatever? Because it won't be the same. It won't be a complete overlap from the people who like the original versus people who like the new one. Some people will come over, but not all of them, and you can't even always predict what percentage will even come over from the original. So yeah. But I'm curious. I'm curious to see how Magicite Rewritten does. I think because it's being fan made, I think it's going to do a lot more to preserve the feeling of the original game. Because typically with fans of a game, they don't feel like they know better than the original creator. They won't try to improve systems that they think are lacking necessarily. They might add new systems or something, but they typically might not. They won't. I don't think they will generally go for like trying to like they'll fix the code, because obviously the code does have problems, there's performance issues and things like that. But I don't. I think they're trying to preserve the original as best as possible in terms of how it felt to play. Unless, of course, they're a Minecraft mod developer, in which case, better this, better that, better everything, because we know better than Mojang. Which in a lot of cases, they're kind of right. Every horse mod pretty much ever made for Minecraft was better than the actual implementation of horses into the base game. Like virtually everyone. I can't think of a single horse mod that I've ever used for Minecraft that was as bare bones as the vanilla implementation. And I don't mind that the vanilla implementation is bare bones. But anything people were to do to add on top of that system would be better horses. It would be an improvement on that system because it is so bare bones compared to the original mods. So anyways, that is it for today's raid on the DOJ. I yapped a lot. I do like doing solo ones from time to time. It's never really my choice. It's usually because of something out of my control that happens, like my internet being bad. But I do like being able to just yap endlessly because I've gotten a lot better at it these days, I guess. maybe that's not really a badge of honor, but I'm happy. I'm happy with it. So tune in tomorrow for another raid on the DOJ. Hopefully we'll be live again. I don't know if the internet will be back working again for me, but tune in for that. Check out all the other videos on the channel. I've got playlists for the Divinity series that we've been doing. There's multiple. And follow me on Twitter /X, whatever. Because a lot of the updates I post there, I do post updates in the Discord too. I try to now. Because we actually do have people in Discord, so I'll try to post updates across platforms, but Twitter and Discord are the two places mainly to follow along with what's going on with the channel and stuff like that. Yeah, I really appreciate all the support. I'm still really honored that we reached affiliate. I feel really good about that. Now I just have to work to maintain it and hope that my internet doesn't take it away from me because I can't stream. So can I sue Rogers for this? Probably not. Anyways, yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye everybody.